Welcome to This Is Now, and first at noon, we're following breaking news in Makaha. One person is dead and 4 others were injured in a shooting overnight. Casey Lund was at the scene all morning learning more about the violent incident.
Aloha, good afternoon. I'm standing at Jade and Lahaina Street. This is about a half-mile west of Makaha Valley Road. The home behind me, you can see, still has police tape in front of it. This is Lahaina Street, where late last night, around at 9 p.m., shots rang out. We hear that there was some kind of an altercation between 2 different groups. What we know from police is that a 19-year-old male, a young man, was killed during all of this, pronounced dead at the scene. There were 4 other victims, 2 other 19-year-old males, a 21-year-old male and a 41-year-old female that was involved in this shooting last night. Multiple shots rang out. We talked to the HPD lieutenant who was on scene, who gave us some initial details about the preliminary investigation late last night.
The preliminary information is that a group of suspects parked west of the scene and walked to the victim's location on foot. They started fighting with the other people at the scene, and then the physical altercation turned bad when one of the suspects shot multiple rounds at the victim's group. A lot of the witnesses left the scene prior to the arrival, and some are at the hospitals being interviewed. From what we're gathering from witnesses, could be anywhere from 4 to 7 shots.
Again, those 4 victims that were taken to the hospital in serious condition at last check. We're working to get more details on their condition. Also, no arrests at this point that we know about have been made in this case, or a description of the suspects. We're working to find out more of those details as well. We'll keep you posted with the very latest throughout the day on air and always at hawaiinewsnow.com. Reporting in Makaha, I'm Casey Lund for Hawaii News Now.
Thank you very much, Casey. In a separate incident, a Nanakuli teen has been arrested after police say he was found with a loaded ghost gun and a high-capacity magazine. Police records show the 17-year-old boy was taken into custody yesterday afternoon. He faces possible charges for unlawfully carrying a firearm. He was arrested without incident. A woman raised in Hawaii is facing deportation because of an embezzlement conviction 24 years ago. Llewellyn Dixon is from the Philippines but has lived and worked in the U.S. for 50 years and has permanent residency through a green card. However, in March, she was detained in Seattle. Border officials say a criminal history violates the terms of a green card. Dixon plans to fight deportation at a hearing today, while her family pushes for more legal resources and support for Filipino detainees.
This is not just about Auntie. It's about protecting all Filipino nationals who are vulnerable to this system. This support can be the difference between giving up and fighting for their right to stay in a place they call home.
In a statement, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection says lawful permanent residency is a privilege and does not exempt someone from deportation. Honolulu firefighters recovered the body of a hiker who had been reported missing while hiking along the Maili Pillbox Trail. HFD says the 911 call first came in around 8 o'clock last night. 17 personnel responded to the call. Rescue crews began searching for the 42-year-old man on foot. Once he was located around 1:30 a.m., HFD took his body off the trail. The victim's identity has not yet been released. HNN investigates an inmate's attack on 2 guards at the Oahu Community Correctional Center. The violence erupted while an untrained emergency guard watched helplessly. We've obtained video of the incident, which the union says proves corrections officials are failing to follow their own safety rules. Daryl Hoff has the story.
Fortunately, the 2 corrections officers involved in Monday night's fight were not seriously injured, but the lack of action from the 3rd guard, an emergency hire in a highly secure position, has raised questions about the safety at Oahu's largest jail.
They're just not skilled. They just don't have the training. There's no time to train them.
Monday evening, a detainee being escorted by 2 adult correctional officers suddenly starts throwing blows. While the 2 ACOs struggle to control him, the guard in the control desk watches in apparent shock, sending a message on the radio, but otherwise letting the 2 ACOs fend for themselves, even as one goes down.
And unfortunately for everyone in that position, the person in that chair at the time didn't have the training.
The ACO's union, the United Public Workers, isn't criticizing the temporary guard because as an 89-day hire with little training, he shouldn't even have been in that position.
They don't carry the same tools and equipment. They shouldn't be anywhere near keys and the control panel, as you see in the video.
Temporary 89-day hires are part of the correctional system's response to chronic staff shortages, and the union says their lack of training is a known risk.
It's a dangerous situation that could have been avoided.
In fact, the department tried. Exactly 1 year ago, the head of security at OCCC, Grace Johnson, ordered 89-day hires barred from assignments to higher security posts, including Module 8, where Monday's assault happened. They are not properly trained to work with segregation max custody offenders and not authorized to utilize the OC spray, she wrote in May 2024. Recently, we have had a number of incidents where 89-day hires have made some critical errors and poor decisions. In an H&N investigative report in February, the department said 89-day hires don't carry pepper spray or handcuffs and are required to work with permanent employees who will carry keys and restraints. The union disputed that.
That's not happening.
This afternoon, saying the video proves little has changed, the union sent a cease and desist notice to the state, saying the 89-day hire was posted in a secure module in violation of the department policy and demanding only properly trained and or supervised personnel can be posted in these areas.
We have a pile of grievances against the employer at the moment for a variety of different issues, most of them related to staffing issues there.
The department said it is investigating Monday's incident and that the inmate will be prosecuted, but it did not answer any of our questions about the use of emergency hires in highly dangerous posts. Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you very much, Daryl. The Hawaii Tourism Authority is trying to keep some major construction projects on track while a top executive is on leave. Chief Financial and Administrative Officer Isaac Choi was in charge of hiring contractors for the repair of the convention center's leaking roof and other projects worth about $100 million. Yesterday, the HTA board met with state officials to find someone to take over and get those projects done in time for major conventions in 2028.
It's of high priority for us to be able to move as quickly as we can, but with the understanding that we are a state agency and we are beholden to certain procurement requirements as well as contracting requirements. And as such, just wanted to caution that there may be a need to revisit the schedule.
Choi was put on leave while the Attorney General investigates allegations he made racist and sexist comments at the office. Choi denies doing anything inappropriate. Well, the last 24 hours have seen lots of legal wrangling over President Trump's trade policy. Today, an appeals court temporarily reinstated sweeping tariffs that another court blocked yesterday. Natalie Brand has the details from the White House.
The Trump administration says it's fighting back after the Court of International Trade ruled the president overstepped his authority in enacting sweeping tariffs on nearly all trading partners.
The administration is going to win, and we intend to win. We already filed an emergency appeal. We expect to fight this battle all the way to the Supreme Court.
The new ruling applies to the administration's 10% baseline tariff on most trading partners and the separate tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada related to fentanyl and immigration. It does not apply to tariffs on specific products, including autos, aluminum, and steel. But analysts say it could impact trade negotiations underway over the president's reciprocal tariffs, now on pause until July.
The story is not over yet.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says despite the ruling, small businesses impacted by tariffs are still in wait-and-see mode.
I think it does nothing for businesses because I think what happens is we are still operating under a cloud of uncertainty.
This latest legal fight comes as lawsuits surrounding the Department of Government Efficiency continue to play out, and as President Trump's advisor who led the effort is leaving his post.
We thank him for his service. We thank him for getting DOGE off of the ground.
In a post on X Wednesday, Elon Musk said he would like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. In an exclusive interview with CBS Sunday Morning, he criticized the president's tax cut and spending bill that narrowly passed the House 1 week ago.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit.
As a special government employee, Musk could only serve the administration 130 days in a calendar year. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Maui wildfire victims could see the first payments from the $4 billion settlement this year. There are approximately 22,000 individual plaintiffs. It's estimated 80,000 claims will be submitted by more than 50 law firms. Attorneys came up with 10 categories that include wrongful death, physical injury, displacement, business loss, and other damages. Claims are due October 1st to get the first paychecks out to victims before the end of the year.
The target is to get money into people's hands in December, so this year. So we're really hoping to keep the deadlines on target and get money into people's hands this year.
Victims who don't want to file an individual claim can join a class action lawsuit with a total fund of $135 million. Attorneys for insurance companies tried to intervene because they believe they deserve some of that money, but their motion was denied. Lawyers will explain the next steps to their clients. Well, heading into summer, wildfire hazards are on the rise, especially in areas that have been dealing with drought. Ben Gutierrez reports from Maui with a closer look at leeward Oahu.
It's not even June, and already it's very dry along Oahu's Waianae coast. And it's not just the hillsides and the mountains we're talking about. Even the beach parks have very dry grass.
We're concerned, like something with like how the Maui fires have started. We're concerned about that with all the dry brush that we have on this side.
It's like that up and down the leeward coast, which has been under moderate drought. Some parts got 0.2 of an inch of rain 10 days ago. No significant rainfall since then. And humidity levels in Honolulu fell to less than 40% Wednesday, making some residents more alert, especially from what happened last year.
Our concern for this year came from last year because our house over in Makaha, the valleys in the back were all on fire. So the breathing quality, the air was so bad.
It's already really hot already. I mean, it's been really hot and the trade winds have been real mild. And usually this is the time, right?
Wildfire season is year-round in Hawaii, but the highest fire threat usually comes during the months of July and August. State Representative Darius Kila has asked Hawaiian Electric to look closely at the only way in and out of the Waianae coast.
Look at Farrington Highway, look at poles, wires that need emergency repair, vegetation that needs to be cut back.
There are also concerns about the dry beach parks and the homeless population along the coast near the highway.
I'm sure you guys have noticed all of the homeless that are camped out on the beaches on this side. We're kind of concerned too with what they're doing in the bushes, the dry brush and things like that if it's not cleared away.
Last year, Hawaiian Electric started its public safety power shutoff program. The utility says it understands the concerns and has been working to decrease conditions that spark fires.
TECO's been out actually doing a lot of cutting along with the city and county, making sure all the hedges been cut away from the wires.
Do that quickly, but also now develop a comprehensive plan that over the next several months in the summer and even throughout the year, how are they going to ease the public's concerns about Farrington Highway?
In Maui, Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
How's it on this Thursday? The light wind weather pattern continues, but there are going to be light trades, so I don't think we'll have much in the way of pop-up showers. You can see it remains mostly dry, just a few passing showers this morning for a handful of windward spots. There's just not a lot of rain out there. And the winds will be slowly veering to the east throughout the day, and so we'll have that trade wind breeze, but they will be rather slow, so it's going to be a little sticky at times, but still, we're expecting lots of sunshine throughout the day. High temperature in Honolulu expected to top out around 87 degrees, so load up on the sunblock.
Ahead on This Is Now, the U.S. military is increasing its international operations, training alongside Australian and Japanese allies. A look at their exercises and what they're preparing for. And an upgrade is in order for portions of the Kahului Airport, the renovation project about to begin after the break. Airport, the Hawaii Department of Transportation is celebrating the groundbreaking for a new TSA checkpoint at the south end of the airport. The project includes an all-new two-story checkpoint building. U.S. Senator Brian Schatz is attending the event, along with TSA's Pacific Airports Security Director. The U.S. military is increasing its operations down under, with hundreds of Marines training alongside their Australian and Japanese allies. Holly Williams has more.
We flew across the Australian outback in a pair of Ospreys, landing in enemy territory with a platoon of US Marines. As they moved forward through the forest, they came under fire.
Hey, to the left, we got machine guns to our left, machine guns to our left!
The enemy combatants are holed up in a village in that direction. The US Marines are about to stage a raid. This was just an exercise, with Australians role-playing the enemy. More than 500 US Marines are training here, along with their Australian and Japanese allies.
Knowing how one another works is of the utmost importance, and being ready to respond is something critical.
The US is responding to China by increasing its military footprint in the Asia-Pacific. China's President Xi Jinping is thought to have ordered his armed forces to be ready to invade the island of Taiwan by 2027 if necessary, raising fears of a conflict that could draw in the US. Military experts say a Chinese invasion of Taiwan is not inevitable, and China may actually want to avoid war, especially with the US. But China's armed forces are going through an unprecedented modernization, from aircraft carriers to hypersonic missiles. Holly Williams, CBS News, Townsville, Australia.
Just ahead, a surprise on the shores of a Florida beach that traveled all the way from Hawaii. The journey of a message in a bottle.
weather with Guy Huggy.
How's it on this Thursday? The light trade wind weather pattern will continue today, so rainfall will be minimal. We're expecting more showers early next week, so get prepared for that. And you can see this morning, fairly dry, a few light showers for a handful of windward spots, but there's just not a lot of rain out there. And the winds will slowly be picking up and shifting more to the east-northeast today, and that shift will bring us more comfortable humidity levels, although it's still going to be a little sticky at times with those winds running on the slow side. Still, with all the sunshine, high temperatures running to about 87 degrees today in Honolulu, maybe a little bit warmer for some leeward spots, maybe a little bit cooler for some windward spots. And as far as surf, things are going to be excellent today. We've got a northwest swell which will be building. We've also got a south swell that's going to be filling in as well. Now the good thing is that no matter where you are, even on the east side, with those winds running slow out of the east, northeast, conditions will be very, very good for whatever wind comes in. But heads up, we got an extremely low tide this morning, going really fat this afternoon. So we've got some nice weather on the next couple of days, fairly dry conditions, and trade winds will pick up slightly tomorrow, and they'll run firm for the next several days. The thing to be aware of is that a disturbance is going to come in sometime between Sunday and Monday. That's when we expect a few more showers. Mainly windward and Mauka areas will get the showers on Sunday and Monday, and then we'll see drier conditions move back in on Tuesday.
Thank you, Guy. Well, a family looking for seashells on a beach in Florida found something a lot more special. Josh Rojas has the story.
And we were just walking right over here.
Paris Hoisington and her 11-year-old daughter Josie point to the area of Anna Maria Island where a treasure washed ashore on Sunday.
And we were just looking for seashells and sand dollars, and we found something way cooler than that.
Josie says at first it looked like a piece of trash in the water.
I was walking, and then the waves were coming, and the bottle almost went, but I grabbed it really fast.
Here's what Josie found: a tiny bottle with a piece of origami inside and a message. That message reads, "Hello, people who found this. You will be happy that you found this. Why? Because you will know me with this number." Paris says she texted that number and got a response.
My brother and I made that when I was younger, and we actually live in Hawaii. And I said, "You're kidding."
That 21-year-old woman says she and her brother threw that bottle in the ocean 8 years ago in Hawaii. Paris's family is visiting from Michigan. They'd already planned to throw their own messages in bottles into the ocean.
We got our own message in the bottles to do. The kids already filled them out. I believe this one is Josie's.
The green one's mine.
So we're gonna put these in the ocean, and hopefully we'll get a response back.
Paris says it's a kid's dream to find a message in a bottle at the beach, and it has made their Florida trip even more special.
It's truly amazing what little tiny objects can go places in the world and connect two people from each other side of the world.
Kauai girl is at the top of the World Surf League rankings. Gabriella Bryan is only in her 4th season on the championship tour, and this year she's on track for a potential world title.
You're the best in the West in back-to-back seasons.
Oh, look at that smile as well from Dog. This is a really cool moment for Gabby Bryan.
We're over halfway through the World Surf League championship season, and Gabriella Bryan has already picked up 2 victories. Her latest coming in grand fashion at the Western Australia Margaret River Pro, where she ripped off a 9.5 ride in the final heat.
That wave, I was a bit too far out for the first wave of our heat, and then that was just a beautiful wave. It had an insane line, and I just gave it everything I got because that's what I would have had to do to win this final.
And the surfer from the island of Kauai making no mistakes.
The 23-year-old grew up surfing on Kauai's North Shore and made her debut on the championship tour in 2022. With nothing worse than a top 5 finish in 5 of her last 6 events, this is by far the best season of her young career. And all the pieces are falling into place.
I think it's confidence, really. If you look at most world champions, it really just comes down to maintaining that consistency throughout 11 or 12 events in a calendar season. And for her, it's really just seeming like she's having a lot of fun.
Fun and a powerful style that has her with the highest average heat score of the entire women's field. In a year when all-time world champion Carissa Moore is away from competition, how fitting that another Hawaii girl is running the lineup.
Just sticking to what I know and doing the best and that I can is one of my main goals, and having fun, so I'm going to try to keep doing that.
Since 2023, we've had 2 different female world champions, Caroline Marks and now Caitlin Simmers last year, and it could potentially be Gabby's year. And I not only think it's important, but I also think it just attributes itself to the progression of the sport overall, especially globally. You know, we're seeing people from different parts of the world, different parts of the United States, you know, not only succeed, but most importantly, progress